You're watching UATV News. My name is Ina Kosinska. Good evening. Opportunity budget, the country's main financial plan approved the day before, is considered realistic and balanced by Prime Minister Denys Shmygal. Medicine will receive a record $5.5 billion, and in the next 2 years, the amount will grow by another 60%. Our correspondents will tell you more.
Almost $180. This is the minimum wage for Ukrainian now. But according to the adopted budget, with the onset on the next year, it will grow to $215. After this, Ukrainians would have to wait for the next increase in the minimum wage until the end of 2021. Next December, another $18 will be added to it. Pensions will also rise. No social benefits in the next year's budget are reduced. All pensions will be indexed next year in accordance with the law. In addition, the pension minimum will increase. Additional support programs for retirees over the age of 75 will also be introduced. Medical workers will receive more in the next year as well. The government promised to raise their salaries by 30%, plus the fight against the pandemic and the coronavirus vaccination. To finance everything, $5.5 billion will be allocated. To compare, this year the budget provided $1 billion less for medicine. To say that little money will go to healthcare, I would not say so. We will not have a COVID fund next year, so what? In our country, the largest number of Ukrainians die every year from cardiovascular diseases. Do we have a heart attack fund? No. Once again, this is the fourth budget item in terms of expenditures. Another budget's record is spending on security and defense. The sum for next year is almost $96 billion. This is almost 6% of Ukraine's GDP. What has remained a constant for Ukraine is the defense and security issue. On the one hand, this is a lot, but on the other hand, the country simply cannot afford less. We take into account the conflict in the east and the need to modernize the Ukrainian army. According to the government's plans, in 2021, Ukrainian economy should get out of corona crisis and start rapid growth. This is a quite typical budget for a post-crisis year. In the post-crisis year, the economy will grow and grow quite actively. According to the Cabinet of Ministers, it will show 4.5% growth next year. And the next year's currency rate is planned to be the following: 29.1 hryvnias per $1. Reported by Roman Smoler, Artem Golub, UATV News.
Meanwhile, for a second day in a row, private entrepreneurs are protesting in Kyiv. On Lviv, demonstrators deployed tents in the center of the capital and promised to stay here until the government fulfills all their demands. Among other things, they are not satisfied with the delay of the introduction of cash registers for a year and the possible tightening of quarantine from January. The Verkhovna Rada has ratified the agreement on political cooperation and free trade between Ukraine and the United Kingdom. The country signed the document on October 8 during the visit of President Volodymyr Zelensky to London. Ukraine became the first country the UK signed a similar agreement with after Brexit. The document also provides joint opposition to Russian aggression, as well as the creation of a free economic zone.
The most suitable conditions for free trade between our countries will be created. This will facilitate the entry of Ukrainian companies with their produce into the UK market. I also wanted to emphasize that the agreement provides the development of immigration dialogue between Britain and Ukraine, as a result of which travel conditions of Ukrainian citizens to the UK will be simplified.
The exhibition In Search of Harmony, Echo of Trypillia, has opened at the National Museum of Literature of Ukraine. This is a joint project of Ukrainian artists representing different styles of painting. They gathered together to show the mysterious civilization of our ancestors.
Ukrainian artists decided to draw attention to the symbols of civilization that existed several thousand years ago. The series of works was titled In Search of Harmony. echo of Trypillia.
Трипольская культура – это какие-то уникальные люди, которые жили здесь.
Trypillia culture is a unique people who lived here 5,000 years ago. They lived here and left something in memory, and it happened so that they've left a lot. The solar signs, for instance, they were peaceful people, grain growers. They grew wheat and lived in the steppes.
A lawyer and artist, Anna Mandryk studied a lot of literature in order to understand how the Trypillians settled their villages. This is how the canvas waiting appeared.
Трипольцы, они свои селения по истечении 5 лет.
The Trypillians burned their villages after 50 years of living in one place, where they lived for a certain time. Then they changed places. In the background you can see fire.
Ukrainian artists and actors of the Kyiv theater wrote the diptych Sun People, especially for the exhibition. She combined several techniques: oil, acrylic and gold imitation, gold leaf.
Для мене трипільці – це сонячні люди.
This image appears at once, because for me, people of Trypillia are sunny people who placed God in the center. They lived in harmony with the universe. Women knew everything, foretold the fate, treated injuries using herbs, etc.
The exhibition In Search of Harmony, Echo of Trypillia will be opened until December 23 at the National Museum of Literature of Ukraine. Reported by Roman Smoler, Svetlana Sich, UATV News.
A dress from theater tickets, a skirt from garden nets, decor from magazine cuts. The craftswoman from Kherson creates cloths, installations and interior items from everything she has. My colleagues have seen unique creations. It depends on imagination. You can make some interesting thing out of anything.
Anything can be turned into clothes or decor in Yulia Mazunova's workshop.
I have the remnants of cloths. We will try to do completely simple strings, a Christmas tree toy, and add some lyrics for New Year's gifts.
The designer mixes different textures and shapes. There are so many works that she's decided to organize an exhibition. One of the most complex items is a dress made from theater tickets.
It was hard paper, needles had to be changed often. There are some of my favorite performances, and I tried to insert them so that they could be visible on the corset.
While experimenting with textures, she came up with a special kind of clothes.
Here is the dancer's cloth that I made on the basis of felt. I work with natural herbs and other materials. It then gives a basis. Then I spool some threads and fibers are wound on top.
Visitors of the exhibition say that the designer's fantasy surprises them.
That's an interesting idea, but I wouldn't wear such a dress except for an exhibition. Well, it's probably interesting to use those items that people usually throw in the trash. There are many objects in completely different techniques, and even sometimes you ask the master, what is it made of?
Yulia also gives master classes for those who also want to learn how to make non-standard installations from old but favorite things. Reported by Roman Smoler, Yanina Lebedeva, UATV News.
18-meter New Year tree, Christmas fair and performances. Despite the quarantine, Lviv residents decided not to forget about the tradition and gathered to bring a festive atmosphere to the city. Our correspondents have seen the preparations.
18-meter high New Year tree was brought to the center of Lviv from the Drohobych district of origin. Well, first we arrive and look at several variants of tree. This year we will have this Christmas tree in Lviv. Moreover, there is a couple of criteria as well. First, there should be a normal path in order for a trailer to approach the square to install it. And of course, the tree should be symmetrical, of a certain height. The Christmas tree will be decorated with garlands of warm, sunny colors. They will be lighted on December 18, but without a concert and festivities.
We procured good high-quality illumination 2 years ago in order to use the same illumination of warm colors. By the way, we will not put toys on a tree, not to hide its beauty. It has spreading branches, it's a beautiful living pine tree. According to the ratings of the past 2 years, our Christmas tree was always the best in Ukraine.
However, locals and guests of the city will not stay without a festive atmosphere. Traditional Christmas market was organized for them. They promised that they will not violate quarantine norms. The number of holiday kiosks has been reduced, and they're in different locations.
Подивіться, будь ласка, в нас є
Look, we have all necessary means of protections of the highest quality. But the festive assortment has not changed. Souvenirs, hot beverages and sweets. Sellers say that the social distance is monitored by security.
Я думаю, что будут.
I think they will follow the quarantine rules because there is security always walking around here. They make comments if one has their mask off. As we have the street trade and we do not fall under any restrictions, we will work. Nothing has changed, except of the lack of visitors.
No crowds and loud concerts. This year Lviv decided to spend the holidays quietly and calmly, but in a sweet atmosphere.
Будуть відбуватися
There will be holidays in various places. Theaters will mostly have performances, House of Organ Music will have concerts, but everything will be held in accordance to the quarantine rules.
Карантин,
Quarantine depresses a little, but we hope everything will be fine. I will be celebrating in a family circle at home.
The city administration calls everyone to celebrate the New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve with family at home, in order not to catch the infection. Reported by Roman Smoler, Yulia Bil, UATV News.
That's all for this hour. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook pages. Thank you for watching and good night.